Well, Andrew, it is so good to have you with us today for Conversations with Chris. Why don't you just take a few minutes and just tell us a little bit about yourself and your family?
Okay, well, I'm Andrew Robertson. Most of you people, know me already from leading worship on Sundays, or maybe being involved with youth, or being a deacon. One of those type of roles in the church. Um, so I grew up in Toronto. Please don't hold that against me, okay?
Were you a Toronto Maple Leaf fan?
Born and raised in Toronto, so yeah, it kind of like flows in you, It's just anything Toronto, Leafs, Raptors, Blue Jays, Argonauts, all that stuff.
Okay, okay,
Even the soccer club.
good, good.
So I grew up in Toronto, and so I've attended church all my life. My parents they took me to church from the time I was born. They're raised in Scarborough. And so the church I attended actually was Churchill Heights Baptist Church. It's since been renamed Morning Star Christian Fellowship. Um, Went there for about, oh, I would say, almost 30 years. From the time I was born to a couple years after we got married. And I mean, like, I'd visited other churches and stuff, but a church home for almost 30 years. And then, of course, Tanya and I, we got married in 1999. And yeah, it's a long time ago, 22 years. So we moved here fall 2008. And part of that, of course, was to be part of Pinewoods. And, since then, been involved with other churches, been involved with the school board, and of course, Life 100.3. It's actually funny, last night, Tuesday night, we celebrated the 12th anniversary of Ask the Pastor on Life. So I can't believe I've been doing that for 12 years now. What else to talk about? Well, of course, there's my wife, Tanya. There's our kids, Seth, who's going to be 19 in June, Gabe, who just turned 15, and Shiloh, who turned 4 in March. And oh yeah, let's throw in, we've got a dog and 2 cats. How's that?
That sounds like a busy household. Lots going on.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Well, thanks so much, Andrew, for sharing a little bit about who you are. You, like myself, like all of us, we're in the midst of this COVID pandemic, and there's all kinds of restrictions. What are you looking forward to most when this is over?
Just being able to actually hang out with people without, worrying, is someone watching, to make sure I'm not hanging out or whatever. It's going out to, even going out to the movies, just something simple like that. Going out to a restaurant and hanging out with people, just as everyone's been feeling it, that whole fellowship component where, right now we're all kind of stuck at home. And that's why it's kind of nice to actually have, church, not just for going to worshiping God, which is the key thing, but the fellowship component. I mean, if you didn't have that, that's, it would be very isolating for a person who doesn't go to church, because then they have nothing else to go to.
Yes, yeah, and I would agree with you. I heard recently somebody say that they might start attending church just so that they could interact with people.
Bring it on, bring it on.
Yeah.
Yes, you should come to church so that you can hang out with people.
Amen, amen. As long as you're wearing a mask and maintaining a 2-meter social distancing.
That's right.
So what motivates you in the middle of this pandemic to get up in the morning?
I think just the fact that I know that no matter what's going on, God's still in control of it. He wasn't surprised. He didn't wake up one morning and go, oh, where did this come from? He wasn't surprised by that. So, I get my strength from God about that. And um, I just set for myself my daily schedule. I get up, at a certain time, I go to work. Um, Even the times when I was home, I would have certain schedules. Um, set that alarm clock, go through daily routine. That part really helps because when you don't have a routine, you just kind of wing it from morning to night. After a while, that gets kind of tiresome in itself because you get tired of not knowing what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think you're absolutely right. Having a routine in the midst of this pandemic is really important for us to help, even to help with our mental health and
Yeah,
helping our kids around the house too. So good job. Good
yeah.
job for you. Yeah. So if you could do anything for a day, what would it be?
Ooh, anything for a day. Um, it's hard to say because there's so many different things that run through my head when you ask that question.
Well, tell us
Um,
all of the things that are running through your head.
all right, all right. So I've got uh, everything from being comic book artist uh, to well, actually, just being a full time pastor again to musician to actor, maybe. Um, just lots of different things. Stuff that I feel like I'm accomplishing something. You know,
Yeah.
because I'm the kind of person where okay, slowing down and just chilling out for a while is okay, but after a while, I'm like, I need to do something. Something that feels like I'm accomplishing something of worth.
Yeah, I'm very similar too. And in those times, I usually go to a forest and cut down some trees because then I know I've done something. I can see
Yeah.
trees that I've cut down.
How's that going, by the way? How many trees have you cut?
I cut a few down last weekend, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do this weekend yet.
Yeah, it's
So in
supposed
the
to rain
midst,
most of the weekend.
I know it is supposed to rain. Yes, that's right. So in the midst of all of this, faith I know is very important to you, Andrew. So what does
Yeah.
your faith mean to you?
Well, to me, it is my source of strength. Um, you know, and I can relate this to throughout my entire life in different circumstances. Everything from losing loved ones, like my mom 5 years ago. Um, and I took inspiration a little bit from my dad when I was watching him go through it, because he said, "Well, I was just watching, and I'm like, Dad, how are you coping? How are you doing with what was happening at that time?" And he's like, "It's not me." And it was very clear that he drew his strength from God, and you know that's where I am too. I'm like, you know what? If I didn't have God to lean on, to fall back on, um, I'm not sure where my strength would be.
Hmm.
Because the whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps, type thing, just it only flies for so long. Um, before all of a sudden you realize how limited strength you have as an individual.
Yeah.
But when you put your faith in God, when Jesus is your rock, um, you can get through the toughest things. I mean, like um, I know for myself, I haven't had solid work, um, for a number of years because of whatever reason. I don't know. Um, I've been on supply list for 10 years for the school board, and I mean, like God's always provided work. Um, and sure, I've had times where I'm like, hey, can I have something a little bit more permanent, God, than kind of like day in, day out call and,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I struggle. Sure, everybody does. I think if anyone said that they don't struggle at all, I think they'd be. Um, I hate to use the word lying, but it'd be kind of stretching things, um, because we all go through struggles.
Yeah.
And for me, when I go through struggles, um, I rely on certain verses as well, like Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. I also like I believe it's the amplified version of that, where instead of using the word acknowledge, it actually uses the word submit.
Mm.
And I thought that's very interesting. In all your ways, submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. Because when I think of it through that lens, it's like, okay, am I submitting myself to God, to His understanding, to His knowledge, or am I still trying to take back the reins?
Yeah.
And that's a very real struggle. Well, God, nothing's happening, so I'm just gonna take back and try and make things happen myself. And yeah, we need to make decisions, but honestly, we still need to leave things up to God.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. That's a good word, Andrew. Good word for all of us to live out Proverbs 3, 4, and 5. And thanks for that. So encouraging. And it's just keep being who God has called you to be in the midst of this, because faith does get us through, as you said, through all of the stuff that's in front of us.
Yeah.
That's been great having you with us today, just talking and just sharing a little bit more about yourself. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Make sure you come to service Sunday, because we're driving church again. I nearly froze last week. That's okay. It's all, it's all for God. So I had gloves on. It was okay.
Yeah. Yes. We're looking forward to those times where we can just gather together.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to seeing people, even if they can only honk in their cars,
Amen. Well, you have a good rest of the day, Andrew. Good to chat. And we'll talk again.
All right. Thanks, Chris.